to fire up the drop-o-meter for hitters who got off to good/great starts in March and April, and have cooled off quite a bit here in May. Do have to time you guys because we have to keep this moving. So under a minute, the best that we can, 1 to 10 on the drop-o-meter. And Chris, you were up first with Kritisan Campbell, who hit 301 with a 902 OPS through April. And in May is batting 120 with a 325 OPS. He's still 82% rostered. Where is Kritisan Campbell on the drop-o-meter?
A 5? I'm going to say 4. I would prefer not to drop him. You can if you really need to, but I don't think you're going to find a second baseman with anywhere near the upside that Kritisan Campbell does. We were talking about one of the top prospects in baseball, a very, very productive hitter at the minor league level last season, who has shown the ability to do that at the major league level already. Now, it was only for 1 month, and the most recent month has been very bad, but I don't think the most recent month is the only thing that matters here. So I am still mostly opposed to dropping Kritisan Campbell.
All right, very good. 45 seconds. I like that. Let's go over to Trevor Story, his teammate, who through the first month was batting 260, 5 home runs, 6 steals. Looked like, all right, some power, some speed here. But in May, he's hitting 155, 1 home run, a 404 OPS, 29 strikeouts to 4 walks, and a 57% ground ball rate. Down to 66% rostered. Scott, where is Trevor Story on the drop-o-meter?
I'm going 7, and the only reason I don't go higher is because I'm having to account for those deeper roto leagues where you really have no choice but to hang on to Trevor Story and hope he comes around. But there's a lot of reason to wonder if he's even good anymore. He's hardly played the last few years. His strikeout rate is through the roof, and the few times we have seen him play during that stretch, it's been through the roof. And it's good that he's still stealing bases, but he's got to get on base. And I do wonder if at some point this becomes Roman Anthony's ticket to the majors by shifting either Meyer or, say, Don Rafael at a shortstop. I don't know what they'd do at third base if they shifted Meyer there, but obviously they could get Anthony in the outfield potentially, and everything would be grand. But yeah, I don't think Story's 25th for me at shortstop at that deep position. So, if you don't need the 25th shortstop, you can move on.
All right, 56 seconds. Let's go. Would you drop Trevor Story for either of Meyer or Correa, who we spoke about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar to Correa for me, but I think I do slightly prefer him to Story.
Let's talk about Bryson Stott, who through April was batting 297 with 2 home runs, 7 steals, and an 810 OPS. Here in May, he is batting 213. Power and speed still looks okay. 2 homers, 4 steals, a 559 OPS in the month. He's still 92% rostered, but second base is kind of bad right now. I don't know. Chris, where's Bryson Stott on the drop-o-meter?
Again, this one's probably like a 5 or a 4, maybe even a 3. I think I do rank him ahead of Kritisan Campbell the rest of the way. I don't know. It mostly seems like it's some batting average fluctuation right now. The strikeout rate's up a couple of points, but nothing too alarming. The quality of contact is not necessarily any worse than it's been in the past. So I don't really have too much concern about Bryson Stott. We know what he is, and he's a good source of stolen bases. He doesn't kill you in batting average. He doesn't really do anything else.
I
so
noticed
in a roto league,
I noticed he was batting leadoff today. Is that? Yeah, that's something he's been doing a lot.
He's basically been doing that all season against right-handed pitching, but he doesn't play against lefties. I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It limits, volume from Bryson Stott, which is annoying. But, when I dug into his main numbers, he's actually hitting the ball harder. The batted ball stuff looks fine. It's a 17% strikeout rate. I don't see anything under the hood for May. It's just the playing time is annoying. Like it is, if you're in a points league, like you want guys to play every day.
In points leagues, the problem is second base is kind of the position of better in roto than points. And so there's a lot of guys like that. Matt McClain seems pretty fringy in a points league right now. So I don't know. In a points league, it's probably higher. It's probably like 7 and you could just kind of try to stream your way through second base. But in a roto league, I think Bryson Stott is fine.
What about Jorge Polanco, who through the first month hit 384, 9 homers, 25 RBI, a 1226 OPS? We're thinking this guy is back. And then in May, he's hitting 155, 1 home run, a 476 OPS, tons of ground balls. The strikeout rate is climbing, not playing against lefties because he can't hit right-handed because of that oblique injury. 81% rostered, Scott. Where is Jorge Polanco on the drop-o-meter?
So I will go about a 6 here, maybe a 5. Because the thing is, I don't think in roto leagues you can drop him, because you just have to go too deep into middle and corner infield, both where he's eligible. And I still like a lot of the underlying indicators here. The expected stats still look great for Jorge Polanco. But he is sort of like Shane Baz for me. The regrettable instance of me moving a player way up my rankings and then moving him way back down my rankings. Because the bigger issue for me than Jorge Polanco's May production is just that he's still not playing against left-handers because of that side issue that affects him from the right side of the plate. And it's been going all year. I assumed it would have stopped by now. It hasn't stopped, and it's just costing him too many at-bats.
All right, let's slide over to Cedric Mullins. In the first month, hit 278 with 6 homers, 5 steals, 927 OPS. And here in May, hitting 163, 4 homers, 2 steals, still fine, but a 553 OPS. Strikeouts are up. It feels like he's trying way too hard to hit for power. Has actually sat out 2 straight against a right-handed pitcher, which is kind of interesting. 98% rostered. Chris, where is Cedric Mullins on the drop-o-meter?
I don't want to give the same answer I've given multiple times already, but it's probably like an 8 in a points league and like a 1 in a roto league. I will say it could be somewhat interesting to see what happens when Colton Cowser's ready, because, you know, if Mullins, there's no long-term commitment to Mullins. I think he's a free agent after this season. So yeah, could they just kind of bury him? I think it's unlikely, but it's not impossible that he gets buried when they have a little more of a full outfield. But I think in a roto, the power speed combination is still too hard to find. So I'll say like a 2 or 3 in roto leagues for Mullins.
All right. What about Nolan Arenado, who actually went 2 for 5 with his 6th home run here on Tuesday? And you know what? The March, April, May numbers, they're all kind of similar. I'm just confused as to why Nolan Arenado is still 95% rostered. I guess he has 6 homers on the year. He's, does it for a good batting average at this point. It's like not a good on base percent. I don't know. Maybe people are just holding out for a trade. I don't get it, Scott. But where is Nolan Arenado on the drop-o-meter?
Pretty high. So I think I would rather have him than like Max Muncy, to throw back to a previous segment, but less than some of those other third base options we named, like Matt Shaw and who else do we name there? He's low ceiling at this point, high floor, but low ceiling at this stage of his career. A good compiler, but not somebody who's going to make a difference. And the more unfortunate thing for Arenado is that like his skill set works best in points leagues with the low strikeout rate, but that tends to be the smaller lineup league where you don't have to go into the third base pool as much. So he's very fringy at this point. I imagine the roster rate is so high, A, because he's Nolan Arenado and probably going to the Hall of Fame, and B, because his best week of the season was the first week of the season when and people kind of form their opinion on him based on that, because you see that happen a lot. But yeah, he's pretty fringy. He doesn't need to be even half as rostered as he is.
If you can only have 2 good months, April and September are the months to have if you want to boost your fantasy value.
That's the Taylor Ward way right there.
All right, Scott, I hate to tell you, but
I went over.
Exceeded a minute. How could you?
Man, I didn't think I said that much either.
Let's talk about Kyle Manzardo, who hit 8 home runs with an 853 OPS through April. And here in May, he's hitting 203, 2 homers, 618 OPS. The strikeout rate is up to 30% for the month, down to 57% roster. So some people have already dropped him. Chris, where is Kyle Manzardo on the drop-o-meter?
It's so funny because coming into the season, the big question about Manzardo was, could he hit lefties? And he's been awesome against lefties. He's got a sub 25% strikeout rate against them. He has a 975 OPS, and he's been really bad against righties. He has a 689 OPS. I'm not sure what 45 divided by 156 is. A 29% strikeout rate against righties as well. I mean, on the plus side, I guess it's good that he's showing he can get lefties, but if that falls apart, things could get pretty ugly for Kyle Manzardo if he doesn't turn it around. So I think he's pretty droppable. I'm going to say a 7. I'm not giving up on the talent, but we just don't have much of a sample size here at all.
Would you drop for Berger and Hoskins? Manzardo?
Sure. They're hot right now, and Manzardo isn't.
Last name on the list, and regretfully, Ben Rice. Hit a home run here on Tuesday, and we know he had 8 home runs, 22 RBI, 958 OPS through April. And in May, obviously, the numbers have come down. The playing time has come down. He's still hitting the crap out of the ball, but reinforcements are coming. We heard about Jazz earlier, and sounds like Stanton could be back in the next couple of weeks or month or so. Ben Rice, this is a tough one, man. I love everything under the hood, but just the playing time is getting annoying. 88% rostered. Scott, where is Ben Rice?
Well, I mean, before the reinforcements come, he's getting pushed out. So Trent Grisham has kind of ruined things here. And I think Ben Rice is a better hitter than Grisham in the long run. I think he's a fantastic hitter. I think skill-wise, he is everything I could want in a hitter. And it's been disappointing what's happened to him and frankly, Jonathan Aranda. And, a lot of those first basemen we elevated early on, we're having to push back down now just because they're not getting consistent enough at bats. So I think if I went 6 on Jorge Polanco, I'm going to go 5 on Rice. And that's because I'm, splitting the difference between head-to-head and roto. Roto, you probably can't drop him head-to-head. It might be like an 8 or a 9, unless you just can't do better at first base. Rice isn't playing consistently enough. Now, one caveat that's probably going to put me over a minute is he's a game away, 1 appearance away from gaining catcher eligibility.
And that he's 100% rostered.
Probably. I mean, catcher's so deep too. And
I don't know if
frankly, he's probably
guy.
Getting less playing time than some of them at this point.
He's playing more than Drake Baldwin still, I think. Although I don't know if that will be the case moving forward.
I'd rank him ahead of Baldwin, but I don't know. It would put him on the fringe of the top 12, I think.
I think him versus Ramirez would be really interesting in a points league because Ramirez is going to play a lot more, but his skill set is less well suited for it. Because Rice, the underlying numbers are still terrific.
I know. I love him.
Yeah. And I think he's a really good player.
Or just a prolonged Jason Dominguez slump that gets him sent to the minors. Like there are still ways Rice could turn into a fantasy stud for the remainder of the season. But
man,
those shallow leagues where you only have 1 first base spot, like I could understand him getting squeezed out.
If Stanton is healthy, I just don't know where Ben Rice is going to play. I don't think they should just bench Ben Rice, but Paul Goldschmidt's been good this season. Stanton is still like, I don't know. Are they going to be sentimental about it? Are they going to give Stanton an opportunity because he was such a big part of their postseason run last year and all that? I think they should play Ben Rice ahead of Stanton, even if Stanton's healthy. But even if Stanton's playing 30% of the games, there's just not a lot of room for Ben Rice there.
I know this shouldn't dictate things, but it often does. I mean, politics in baseball, Stanton is still making a lot of money, and he still has like 2 or 3 years left on that contract. I think if he's healthy, they're probably going to play him at least 4 or 5 times a week, and so that really just muddies everything there.
Teach him third base. It's not that hard.
That's honestly the answer, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
I don't think so either.
A rough go there for Ben Rice.